your boy eBay Fight Predictions in the building. I'll be breaking down Robert Whittaker versus Dricus Du Plessis. What a phenomenal fight, and pretty much a simple fight to break down. The stakes are simple. Winner gets Israel Adesanya in that Australia card that's coming up in September. It's kind of interesting. Both guys obviously have different parallels to Israel Adesanya in terms of the matchup. And obviously I would say in terms of pay-per-view draw right now, I think Israel Adesanya versus Dricus Du Plessis is a big fight. There's a lot of bad blood. There's some, I don't want to say racial tension, but there is some tension historically between those two guys, and Israel Adesanya has brought it up, and he has manifested Dricus Du Plessis to this moment. But my thing is that, you know what, and you guys know, I am not a Robert Whittaker fan. He's a good fighter. He's actually a great fighter. I don't want to take anything away from the guy. I'm just not a fan of him. Probably his fan base irritates my soul. And I'm thinking because I picked against Robert Whittaker every time, right? So just listen to this, to my Robert Whittaker haters or the Dricus Du Plessis supporters. You guys might be in luck. I have picked Robert Whittaker, and in his last, I picked against Robert Whittaker in his last, at least, I think 4 fights. And, I did pick against, I picked Robert to beat Adesanya. I did pick that. But besides that, I did pick Marvin, sadly, to get it done against Robert. It was a horrible pick. I picked Kelvin and fucking Jared Cannonier to get it done. Now, I'm picking with Robert Whittaker. And every time I've picked Robert Whittaker to win a fight, he's lost a fight. So for the Dricus Du Plessis fans out there, you guys might be in luck. The eBay Fight Predictions curse might whoop Robert Whittaker, because I'm actually picking Robert Whittaker to win this fight. As much as I know the UFC probably wants a guy like Dricus Du Plessis to fight Adesanya. It's a new matchup, new face. I just honestly think Robert Whittaker is probably going to work his way up to a trilogy, and we're going to see a Max Holloway versus probably Alexander Volkanovski kind of situation with Robert Whittaker and Adesanya. Now, do I think Dricus Du Plessis has a chance to get in the KO? Yeah, I do. After seeing the tail of the tape, I'll explain to you why. But besides that, yeah, I honestly do think that is a fight the UFC wants. I just don't think Dricus Du Plessis has the skills to pay the bills. I don't think he can get to that moment. I think they were better off just putting Dricus Du Plessis in a title fight after the Brunson fight. You know, I mean, Brunson, he gave Jared Cannonier a free title fight, so you know what I'm saying? Why not Dricus? That's what I would have done. You save yourself any moment of Robert Whittaker potentially ending a big fight for them. Honestly, I really do think this fight can be huge. I really do. In terms of middleweight fights, this could probably be the build-up to Costa and Adesanya the first time, man. You know? Or, well, the only time. But yeah, it can just be that big. And I truly believe that. I think there's just so much tension. The trash talk will be really be interesting. And obviously, the South African thing and with Dricus Du Plessis, and I'll talk about that later. But besides that, I just don't think Dricus is that guy, and that's why I'm kind of leaning towards Rob, even though I dislike Rob and his fan base to the highest degree. And nothing against those guys, like, honestly, but they're just annoying. I'm sorry, like, you guys are annoying. He's a great fighter, but you just make him dislikable. So but besides that, let's talk about the tail of the tape. Obviously, Robert Whittaker is the #1 middleweight in the world. Oh, actually, he's the #2 middleweight in the world. But stylistically, or I shouldn't say stylistically, logistically, he truly is the #1 middleweight in the world besides Adesanya. He's fighting out of Australia, age 32, height of 6 foot, and reach 73.5. So pay attention to that reach. Reach to 73.5. Dricus Du Plessis comes with a record of 19-2. I think he's #5 in the world. I think he's top 5 now. He's fighting out of South Africa. Age 29, a height of 6'1", and a reach of 76. So a 3-inch reach advantage. Big reach advantage for Dricus Du Plessis going into this matchup against Robert Whittaker. And that's going to be a problem. Dricus Du Plessis is awkward. He hits hard, and he doesn't throw punches conventionally. He throws punches while running, and that's very hard to deal with. It's kind of hard to, counter. The only guy I was really able to see kind of deal with that effectively in the UFC was Darren Till, and obviously there is Soldic, who completely destroyed Dricus Du Plessis in the rematch. So he was able to deal with him. And I think Robert Whittaker's going to have to look like that guy to deal with Dricus. But besides that, I mean, Dricus Du Plessis has had a pretty good run in the UFC. I mean, he's fought some decent guys, and he's beaten a lot of good guys, honestly. You know, wins over Derek Brunson, Darren Till, Brad Tavares, Trevor Giles, Marcus Perez, and, you know, that's a good run for him. Last three were pretty good, and, you know, he got those done, and he finished his last two opponents, who guys were former top 5 guys, so good for him there. Obviously, really good guy at what was it? Is it KSW? Was it KSW? Yeah, he was a really good fighter at KSW. Obviously, he has a win over Soldic. He has one. They're both 1-1. That was something good for him there. You know, Dricus, it's hard to explain Dricus' style to somebody. He's an unorthodox striker with good grappling. And that's how I could explain to him. But offensively, his grappling's not that great. I don't think he can really take guys down besides Darren Till, because I think Darren Till's defensive grappling is probably the worst I've ever seen in MMA, which is crazy because Tyler really couldn't take him down. But yeah, it's pretty bad. But he has pretty good jiu-jitsu. Now when we talk about Robert Whittaker, I think Robert Whittaker has the best defensive wrestling in the division, and probably some of the best defensive wrestling I've seen in a very long time. Do I think someone is still able to take him down? Of course. I don't think he's God, but he's shown really, really good scrambles and really good defensive wrestling. So I'll just say that. But Robert Whittaker has a resume upon itself. He's one of the greatest middleweights to ever do it. And he has wins over Marvin Torre. He's fought Adesanya twice, lost. Beat Kelvin Gastelum, Jared Cannonier, Darren Till. Yoel Romero twice. Second one was a little debatable. Has won over Jacare Souza, beat Derek Brunson, a younger Brunson by that. Uriah Hall and Brad Tavares. Has losses against Stephen Thompson and Court McGee. His last loss was against Adesanya. Somewhat debatable fight. A lot of people felt like it was a bit of a robbery. I actually scored it for Rob, but I didn't have a problem with the decision. I didn't think it was that much of a robbery. I thought it was a close fight, but I did think Rob pulled it out. And obviously, I am not pulling for Rob to get the belt. So, you know, I was like, I didn't care, to be honest with you. But here's my point. I'll keep the fights kind of simple. Robert Whittaker can win this fight pretty easily. He can even get this fight to the ground if he wants to. He jabs, he moves, distance, high kicks. He should be good. Rob, it does effective stuff with using range to almost help with his reach disadvantages. Because if you watch a lot of his fights, he does have a big reach disadvantage. And using his footwork and throwing those high kicks and using his legs to help him kind of get to his opponents a little better has always been helpful. And, you know, obviously his oblique kicks are awesome and his leg kicks are good. So that's how he kind of minimizes his reach disadvantages when he goes up against guys like, you know, Jared Cannonier or Adesanya, right? And what he did to Cannonier was really amazing. I think that's what we're going to see in this fight. I think that's what it's going to look like, him and Robert Whittaker. Now, can Whittaker land a punch? Yeah. Not Whittaker. Can Dricus Du Plessis land a shot? Hell yeah. I truly, truly believe that. I think if he goes out there and just goes balls for the wall and just try to touch that chin, he has a good chance. Robert Whittaker has a horrible chin. I shouldn't say he has a horrible chin, but he has a questionable chin. He's been dropped. Let me look at this. He didn't get dropped against Marvin Torre, but he got dropped against Adesanya in the rematch. Didn't get dropped against Kelvin Gastelum, I'll give him that, but got hurt against Cannonier. He got dropped against Darren Till. He got knocked out in the first Adesanya fight. He got dropped multiple times against Yoel Romero. So, 2 times against Yoel Romero, 2 times against Adesanya in the first time. So that's 4 knockdowns and a knockout. 1 time against Darren Till, that's 5. He got staggered against Cannonier, that's 6. And then in the Adesanya rematch, he got dropped. So he's been dropped at least 7 times in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights. He's been dropped 7 times in his last 7 fights. And obviously you can say it didn't happen collectively in all those 7 fights, but it happened a lot through those 7 fights. So, Yeah, that's something to look at. And, you know, obviously he did get knocked out by Stephen Thompson too. So that's something to also look at too. So, yeah, I mean, I think Dricus has a legit chance of trying to go for that KO. I think that's where he should probably go towards. But realistically, I think Robert Whittaker jabs his face off, takes him down a few times, kicks him in the head, staggers him. I think Dricus, I might say Robert Whittaker TKO in the second round. I think Dricus can't really take a punch as good as Marvin Vettori or that head kick like Kelvin Gastelum. Robert should have got a finish against Cannonier. He was owed that one. I don't know how he didn't get a finish there. You know what? I'm going to say Dricus Du Plessis. I'm not Dricus. I'm going to say Robert Whittaker by second round TKO. And I think he gets it done there. I think he'll find the head kick. I just don't think Dricus might survive. But Rob has been on a bit of a decision streak lately. So, but I say Rob gets a KO or a finish since I think the Jacare fight. So, yeah. That's my pick. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter. Like, comment, and share the video. Let's get this eBay Fight Prediction Nation growing. UFC 290 Fight Week is going to be awesome. I can't wait for the fights. And, yeah, love y'all and goodbye.
Now I can just go upstairs and go back to doing what I was doing before. Just hardcore masturbating.